Governor Pritzker and Mayor Johnson pushing back on Trump administration threats to send the National Guard and other federal authorities to Chicago. WBBM political editor Geoff Buchholz was at today's news conference. He joins us live with all the details. Jeff.
Yeah, once again, Chicago making national news, Lisa, though probably not in the way that state and local leaders would like. Governor Pritzker chose the fork of the Chicago River here at Wolf Point to make the point that Chicago's not the killing field, that's a quote, that President Trump described at the White House today. The governor and many other speakers here said violent crime is trending down, and the pledge to send in federal forces is less about fighting crime and more about bringing Chicago in line. But Mayor Johnson did offer a suggestion for federal assistance.
We are calling on the Trump administration to release the $800 million for violence prevention funds that he stole back in April. We are calling for more resources to stop the endless flow of guns into our city. And we are calling for transformational investments into affordable housing and community safety.
And Lisa, the governor and the mayor both called the potential arrival of federal law enforcement forces here unlawful and unwarranted.
Okay, Jeff, so the question now is, what can the state do to keep federal forces out of Chicago? Can they do anything?
It's not clear, actually. The governor's response was essentially, see you in court. Attorney General Kwame Raoul was here as well. He says he's already filed more than 36 lawsuits, and he's not afraid to do it again. But when asked about preemptive lawsuits, in other words, getting to the court before the troops show up, both men said it's too early to know.
The Bears officially began the Ben Johnson era this morning when the team introduced the new head coach to the media. Gregg was at Halas Hall.
It's too easy to say the former Detroit offensive coordinator Johnson chose the Bears just because of Caleb Williams. He says he loves the city, the family atmosphere at Halas Hall, staying in the NFC North. But come on, he chose the Bears because of Caleb Williams.
This offense will be calibrated with him in mind. We're going to build this thing. This is not simply a dropping of a previous playbook down on the table and starting there. Nope. We're ripping this thing down to the studs, and we're going to build it up with him first and foremost, and then with the pieces around him next.
And Caleb, who was in attendance along with Roma Dunze, DJ Moore, and Cole Kmet, says he is all in on the new coach. He says he was driving when he learned Johnson was the choice and let out an unsafe scream of joy. At Halas Hall, Gregg, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
It's 12:15, and we can break some news on WBBM. The identity of the new pope is known. Cardinal Robert Prevost, a native of Chicago, is the new pope elected by the College of Cardinals, also the first American pope in the history of the Catholic Church. We will have much more coming up in a CBS News special report coming up at 12:20. But the next pope is an American, Cardinal Robert Prevost, a native of Chicago, the next leader of the Catholic Church.
Parishioners have been coming up to Holy Name Cathedral since the big announcement during the noon hour to celebrate and pray for the new pope. WBBM's Terry Keshner live on the newsline from Old Town with that part of our coverage. Terry.
Yeah, Lisa, it seems that as nearly as soon as the announcement was made from the Vatican, the Chicago faithful began to gather at places of worship. Excitement, surprise, and joy are being felt now that native Chicagoan Robert Prevost is Pope Leo XIV. Mary Constorum says it's a welcome surprise.
I was sleeping in, and then my mom just comes in my room and wakes me. She's like, they chose the Pope, they chose the Pope. And I was just like so excited. And we, like my whole family, me, my mom, and my dad came in, and we just all crowded around the TV. And we're just watching and waiting the whole time.
Mary and others saying that the Chicago Pope will connect with young people as the Catholic Church enters a new chapter. Live at Holy Name Cathedral, Terry Keshner, 105.9 WBBM.
The Pope's childhood home in South Suburban Dolton has been drawing people stopping by for pictures, talking with neighbors after the shock of learning of the home's history. The details from WBBM's Mike Krauser.
There's a cross outside the small brick house here on 141st Street and pictures of people lost to violence placed by a neighbor. Kareem Davis lives next door. What did you think when you heard this?
I almost passed out twice. Because to be living next to the Pope, that's real serious. God been here all this time and we couldn't see it.
His wife, Donna. What was your reaction? I mean, your husband said he almost passed out.
Oh, yeah, my husband definitely. He was the first to say, hey, look, this is bringing hope to our community. You know, definitely it's been a blessing, you know, to find that information out.
She said this was a drug house at one time. It was recently rehabbed. It's vacant right now. In Dalton, Mike Krauser, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Sometimes it's not as easy as hopping on a bus or dropping off the key when leaving an abusive relationship. And that's when this week's difference maker pulls up in a van. WBBM's Brandon Ison explains.
The exit is the most dangerous part of the domestic violence situation. The most dangerous is leaving.
Sitting inside Sarah Taylor's van on the southwest side of Chicago, she tells us that her organization, Soy Ella,
translates to I am her,
has a team of licensed therapists certified in domestic violence.
You send us a message, send an email, we get your information, we'll connect and reach out to you, and your services start immediately.
Partnering also with a number of community organizations to help zero in on the specific needs of survivors. Often a readiness to leave an abuser comes in different stages.
Some women are ready to leave, women are just starting, and some women are in the middle, and some women don't even recognize that it's domestic violence.
Taylor founded Soy Ella more than 13 years ago after surviving a domestic violence situation.
And I couldn't find a community, so I created what I needed.
She tells us that a sense of community and creating a social outlet for survivors is key to what she does. Often abusers will isolate their partners.
It's part of their tactic, and it works, and it works for years.
In the journey to escape domestic violence, Soy Ella offers the opposite of isolation.
You know, that journey doesn't have to happen with just individual one-on-one therapy. You can go out to make pottery. You can go out to make flower arrangements, give yourself flowers. You can go out and connect with other women, other survivors, because that's the only way it's going to make it a lot more easier and more possible.
Taylor does suggest calling 911 or a domestic abuse hotline if in immediate danger, but through this week's difference maker, Soy Ella, there is support for survivors trying to get free.
The calling makes it more meaningful. It makes me feel more purposeful in this work, because I know it's just leading the future of women seeking safety and demanding it and knowing that that's what they deserve.
Brandon Ison, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Exactly 2 weeks ago, an Amber Alert touched off a statewide search for a 4-year-old girl from the Quad Cities after her mother said the family car was stolen with her inside. 8 hours later, she was found outside her family's home. And today, police say the whole thing was a hoax. WBBM's Hayley Hansen is here at the anchor desk with the update. Hayley.
Lisa, Rock Island police say Princess Ilunga told their officers multiple times that her 4-year-old daughter, Blessing, was in her car when it was stolen from outside of her home on January 16th. Police Chief Tim McLeod says they became suspicious after Blessing was found nearby hours later, safe and sound.
Our detectives worked immediately to answer the question, where had she been? We considered that she actually had been possibly inside another residence, maybe even another immigrant family that had taken her on, and just to keep her safe for a little while. We were trying to consider every possible solution on that.
But further investigation revealed Blessing had been home the whole time. Police have since issued an arrest warrant for Ilunga. The family remains at large. Reporting live from the anchor desk, Hayley Hansen, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
A top local story on News Radio WBBM. CTA riders were invited to take a ride back in time to celebrate 40 years of rail service to O'Hare Airport today. WBBM's Carolina Garibay was there.
This is amazing. By far, this takes the cake for the vintage experience in Chicago.
Dozens of excited transit fans got the chance to ride CTA's vintage 6000 series rail cars, which were built in the 1950s.
It's old and vintage, and it's really nice.
I feel like I need to be here for like 2 hours, really take it all in.
CTA offered riders a 15-minute round trip from O'Hare to Rosemont Yard to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the extension of L service to the airport.
The extension to the airport that opened in 1984 was a big benefit to the city, and it not only connected travelers, made it easier to fly around the world, but it was also a link for jobs and for industry as well.
Graham Garfield with CTA's Heritage Fleet program says the celebration is a way to give back to customers.
We've seen a lot of smiling faces today. You know, people are just having fun, and we're so glad we could do this for them.
Carolina Garibay, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Pope Leo XIV is from Chicago, as we all know, and apparently so are some of his ceremonial clothes. WBBM's Terry Keshner is just back from a Chicago business that makes divinely inspired clothing. Who knew? He's here at the anchor desk. Hi, Terry.
Yeah, Lisa. House of Hansen. It's a really neat place on the northwest side. It's been making liturgical vestments. Those are garments that clergy members wear during religious services for more than 100 years. And owner Gerard Ahrens told us they recently had a rush job for Pope Leo XIV for a ceremony in early July.
It was kind of a rush to get it through pretty quick. You know, normally to make caskets, to make vestments and whatnot take about 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes as long as 10 weeks. But in this case, within a week, it was done.
And the Pope has been a House of Hansen customer before.
We've known the Pope for a number of years because we made things for him when he was the bishop in Peru. And subsequently, when he'd come in town, he would stop in. So he was actually here about a year and a half ago.
And Lisa, when a lot of priests spotted the Pope wearing the vestment, they knew right away it was made by House of Hansen here in Chicago. Yeah.
Such a cool story. And it's been around 100 years.
Yeah.
Will House of Hansen make more items for the Pope?
Well, they hope so. They weren't able to say for certain, but House of Hansen says that having a Pope wearing their stuff certainly is good for business. So
Absolutely.
We'll see. Yeah.
All right, Terry, thanks so much. Great job.
Cubs fans are paying tribute to Ryne Sandberg the day after the beloved second baseman died from cancer. WBBM's Nancy Harty reports from Wrigley Field.
Fans are coming here to take pictures and leave flowers, hats, or baseballs at the foot of the Ryne Sandberg statue here in Gallagher Way. Scott says he plans to go through his old ticket stubs to remember Rhino games he watched.
He was a consistent leader in baseball. He was making the All-Star games. He was considered the top second baseman.
Also here was the man who made the artwork. Lou Sella tells us Rhino personally picked out the defensive pose he used for the sculpture.
He knew that fans recognized him in that pose more than anything else, even his batting stance. He said that they would come up to him all the time and talk to him about how they would see him at the ready in his position.
Sella is wearing a number 23 jersey today and was emotional talking about the second baseman he got to know during the process of making the statue that was unveiled a year ago. At Wrigley Field, Nancy Harty, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
The head of Major League Baseball joined Cubs executives, players, and politicians as he announced that Wrigley Field has been chosen to host the 2027 All-Star Game. The details from WBBM's Bernie Tafoya.
It is my honor to award the 2027 All-Star Game to the Chicago Cubs and Wrigley Field.
Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred with the announcement that weaved that big news with touching remembrances of Cubs great Ryne Sandberg, who died this week. Cubs Executive Chairman Tom Ricketts.
He played in the last All-Star game, that was at Wrigley in 1990, and he won the Home Run Derby that year. And I was just talking with Andre Dawson backstage, and Ryne won with 3 home runs, but I think he only got 10 pitches back then. So hopefully when we have the All-Star game here in a couple years, the wind will be blowing out and it'll be a lot of fun.
Cubs executive Crane Kenny says that after the 2027 All-Star game, Wrigley Field will have hosted more All-Star games than any other Major League ballpark. In Wrigleyville, Bernie Tafoya, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Business booming at a Northside restaurant after a visit from a social media star.
I got it. Let's try it and ready what the team.
It's sometimes referred to as the Keith Lee effect. And from the look of the line outside of Amici, Chicago, here at 3933 North Broadway, it is very real. What brought you out here today?
Keith Lee.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
The popular TikTok food critic recently shared his glowing review of the small restaurant to his more than 16 million followers.
Beef stew, like inside a fried rice, boy. For sure, you're right on. I ain't said that in a minute.
The business boom caused Amici to run out of food earlier in the week, meaning Cassie and others waiting outside were crossing their fingers they made it in time.
It's really excited to try the food, try something different, and to be somewhere that Keith Lee has been. It's very cool too.
Lee concluded his TikTok by giving the restaurant's owner $3,000 to pay for other customers' meals and a $1,000 tip.
It's what we need in this world. It's so cool.
In Buena Park, Andy Dane, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
A first grader at Peck Elementary School in the West Lawn neighborhood was welcomed back by classmates today, 3 months after she received a heart transplant.
They chanted her name as Jocelyn Josie Navarez walked down the main hallway with her parents, smiling and waving, the hall lined with students. Josie hugged her teacher at the end of the hallway under an arch made of red balloons. And she danced with her classmates. Her mom, Jacqueline Martinez, was in tears. She said after the transplant, she didn't allow herself to envision this moment.
But after having a heart transplant, she was on life support. She died and came back. We weren't even thinking about school or anything. She was looking forward to wake up every morning. And she's here.
Her dad, Gustavo Navarez, said, "Man, it's so good." He said, "It's a beautiful thing." In the West Lawn neighborhood, Mike Krauser, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Dozens of demonstrators are back in Broadview this morning protesting the West Suburban ICE Detention Center. The details from WBBM's Nancy Harty.
Wearing a crown of barbed wire and holding a sign that says, "Who would Jesus deport?" Josh is standing here along busy 25th Street. He tells us he hopes to act as a mirror for fellow Christians who support the immigration raids, noting it took him longer than he would like to come around on the issue.
Saying like, well, they broke the law, or like, well, and so they get what's coming to them. Like, that's not what Jesus Christ preached at all. And it took me many years of self-reflection and understanding of Scripture.
Many of the protesters out here are wearing protective eyewear and have masks or respirators after last Friday's protest saw agents use tear gas to disperse people blocking vehicles leaving the ICE detention center. In Broadview, Nancy Harty, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
This week's Made in Chicago, we meet the woman whose corn husk wrapped creations have earned her a nickname, a loyal following, and now a chapter for her business.
For 15 years, Maria Alvarez has been a fixture at West 21st Place and South Damon Avenue. Winter or summer, she's there with her cart of steaming tamales, corn dough wrapped in husks filled with savory meats or sweet fillings. For many years, locals knew her simply as the Tamale Lady, a nickname that her son, Edgar Roman, says was crowdsourced before they even knew they had a brand.
One day we just were informed, oh, you're on Yelp. And it was just a really nice surprise that people took the time to create that page for us.
The family has roots in Pilsen, where Maria settled after arriving from Mexico in her early 20s.
We've always lived in Pilsen, so it's just what made sense for her when she wanted to, start working for herself.
The dream recently expanded to a storefront on Cermak, centralizing their food preparation. But Edgar says they'll keep their original street stand.
We've always been out there and, through year-round, cold, summer, what have you. So it's really our mainstay.
The business remains family-operated, with Edgar and his siblings supporting their mother, who still oversees every step of the tamale-making ritual. Their expansion reflects not just business growth, but Maria's determination.
It has certainly opened my mind to what a person that truly wants to make it happen can make it happen.
The Tamale Lady, made in Chicago, Sarah Herrera, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Breaking news from News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
And we've got breaking news from the Loop, where there's been a development in this evening's anti-ICE protest and march, where we find WBBM's Terry Keshner. He's live with an update. Terry, what's been going on since we talked to you last?
Lisa, this is what happened just a short time ago. As demonstrators were marching on Monroe near the Palmer House near Wabash, a car did plow into the crowd. Police were trying to stop this vehicle. We saw one person go down. People began scattering out of the way of the vehicle. A very, very frightening situation. We did see at least one person who appeared to have been knocked down by the car, but then just like that, it was over. Police did get the car pulled over. It looked like it was going to be horrible. It looks like no one was seriously hurt. Can't say that for sure. We don't see anyone down right now. Now this demonstration, this large demonstration, seemed to have been a little bit re-energized by that, and it is moving south again on Wabash under the L tracks. You can hear it. Thousands of people continuing to march here, denouncing ICE, denouncing the White House, saying immigrants have rights. They are being loud, and this is still going on. Reporting live from under the L tracks on Wabash near Monroe, Terry Keshner, 105.9 WBBM.
There was new outrage today about the Trump administration's ICE enforcement activity in Chicago after masked and armed agents pulled a teacher out of a North Side daycare. WBBM political editor Geoff Buchholz reports elected leaders are disputing the Fed's versions of events.
We are not okay.
Parents, religious, and community leaders looked on as members of Congress and others denounced the decision to detain a teacher inside the Raita de Sol facility at Addison and Rockwell near Lane Tech High School.
They went into multiple rooms asking and looking for teachers, while children were present.
Democratic Congresswoman Delia Ramirez says the teacher taken into custody is authorized to work in the U.S. A statement from DHS claims in part agents did not target the daycare, but say the woman barricaded herself inside the facility after speeding away from what the agency called a targeted traffic stop. Congressman Mike Quigley says he doesn't believe anything coming out of the administration.
This is a president, when he gets in the room with the truth,
a fight breaks out.
The teacher was reportedly taken to the ICE facility in Broadview. We're on the north side. Geoff Buchholz, News Radio 105.9, WBBM.
Ahead of her funeral tomorrow, a wake and visitation were held this afternoon on the campus of Loyola University for Sister Jean Dolores Schmidt, the beloved chaplain for the Ramblers men's basketball team. WBBM's Terry Keshner was there.
The Madonna della Strada Chapel on Loyola's campus was crowded with students, faculty, politicians, so many Chicagoans remembering the beloved Sister Jean. Christian Thomas is a Loyola basketball broadcaster and former player.
Just amazing to see. I mean, and she really actually knows the game, too. So something that was really special was before every game, she'd lead us in prayer and then she'd close out the prayer with a scouting report.
Loyola students all say Sister Jean touched them in many ways.
Sister Jean was always an amazing person.
Always made herself available and just a wonderful person to talk to.
We had the privilege of being able to stand and hold pinkies at every single men's basketball game and watch her pray.
She's just everyone's super fan.
Terry Keshner, 105.9 WBBM.
It's 9:21, and some young Chicago public school students got to put their food critiquing skills to the test today as they tried out some potential fall cafeteria items.
Oh my God! This one smells so good.
CPS students could hardly contain their excitement to taste test some potential new menu items.
I'm actually excited and I'm happy and I'm grateful because we've never did this in the school year or when we was going to summer camp and summer school.
9-year-old Samaria was one of roughly 60 CPS students testing items like jollof, a West African-style rice, green bean casserole, and Zamaria's favorite, a fruit parfait.
I can't get enough of this one because it's very good.
The tasting is one of several CPS holds throughout the year. CPS school nutrition specialist Ariana Luster says after the tasting, students fill out a survey and CPS chefs will either make adjustments to items or scrap them altogether.
School food gets a bad rap. We want to change that by being as responsive as we can be, and that's why we do things like tastings and we do surveys so that we stay in touch with what they want.
Carolina Garibay, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
A Chicago rock star is taking the stage as part of the upcoming 2025-26 season of the Lyric Opera.
Shakedown 1970. It's been 30 years since the breakthrough album, The Smashing Pumpkins' Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. Now, Chicago rocker Billy Corgan is marking the anniversary with a collaboration with the Lyric Opera.
Whenever I would work with people in the orchestral world, they would always say, when I would do string sessions, they would say, your work translates really well into this world. So it always planted the seed in the back of my head, but I never thought it was possible.
Corgan says he could never have dreamed to be composing and reimagining his music on the Lyric stage.
Growing up in Glendale Heights, which is about an hour west of here, I never could have imagined that my work would be performed here in the Opera House. It's a mind-blowing thing. It's a great honor, and I think it's cool. It's an inspirational story. I'm from here. The songs are written here, and it is a Chicago work.
The new season also features traditional operas, 2 world premieres, 2 lyric premieres, 3 new to Chicago productions, a solo recital with Renee Fleming and Chicago poet laureate Avery Young, who writes and stars in the music Sophronia. The new season opens on Friday, October 10th, with the Lyric opening concert and gala. Lisa Fielding, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Let's take a quick moment, go back live to Terry in Gary, because I'm assuming those U.S. Navy Blue Angels are about to... I hear engines in the background, Terry.
We are getting in position, Mai. Yeah, it is loud. These beautiful Blue Angels planes. Okay, I'm getting some louder noises. I believe that means are those jets. Again, another jet coming the other way on the runway. Apparently has to get out of their way so we don't have any obviously horrible mishaps here. But here we go. Okay, time to hit the gas. Chicago, get ready, get out the binoculars. Let's go, guys, let's go. Here they go.
This week's difference maker is a sustainable flower shop on the south side that provides jobs for at-risk youth.
You're doing a very good job so far.
I'm trying to do an asymmetrical podium piece. I'm not really good at this, so this is why I'm practicing on it.
Alira Nash hones her flower arranging skills during her shift at Southside Blooms in Englewood. Southside Blooms is a project of the nonprofit Chicago Eco House. It was founded by Keelan Blackwell and his wife Hannah in 2021.
We have the mission of using sustainability to alleviate
alleviate inner city poverty. We do that by taking over vacant lots, turn them into solar-powered flower farms, and those flowers will come to our in-house social enterprise, Southside Blooms.
And the florists who make it all happen, a group of 22 16 to 25-year-olds.
They're learning how to do centerpieces and bridal bouquets and bridesmaids bouquets, a lot of corsages and boutonnieres. They go on site. They're doing like 95% of the work.
Blackwell says he was inspired to create job opportunities for Southside youth while tutoring at an Englewood high school in 2011.
I really saw a lot of potential and a lot of really bright minds, and a lot of it just going to waste just because they didn't have opportunities.
Now young people like Armani Hopkins and Rashad Little have the chance to make some money while also giving back to the community.
In Englewood, you would never really expect that there would be a flower shop here. So it's just nice to be doing something positive, talking to other young people.
You ever gave your mama or grandmama flowers and she just been just lit up her face? That's what flowers can do. It can make change a whole person's mood, change the mood in the room.
Blackwell says it's that passion that fuels their hard work and has them competing with some of the top florists in the city.
I think people underestimate them. It feels really good to just sort of see that they're proving a lot of people wrong.
Carolina Garibay, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
You might want to proceed with caution the next time you're in downtown Chicago.
We easily spotted Judy sitting on Michigan Avenue just north of Lake Street with a box in front of her with a snake inside and another draped around her neck.
Oh, you have more than one. 2 snakes.
Judy, who is from Columbia and mostly lets her snakes do the talking, actually had 3 snakes in all, pythons. She and others posed for photos with the snakes to make a buck. Jane Shapiro and her grandson Dylan Thompson walked by.
What do you think about these snakes?
What do you think? I kind of have a fear of snakes after a ton of them are poisonous.
We hope these snakes were not poisonous because...
Oh, you're putting the snake on me.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a snake around me. Oh, goodness.
I survived. Terry Keshner, 105.9 WBBM.
Hundreds of people brave the cold for a free hot dog at the Wiener Circle, paying off a bet from Bears head coach Ben Johnson.
The Wiener Circle promised free hot dogs if Ben Johnson took his shirt off after a win. And, well, here we are.
What was your reaction when you saw Ben take the shirt off and you kind of knew what was happening?
I couldn't believe it.
And fans lined and bundled up here along Clark Street, hoping to snag a free Frank.
I live right around the corner. We're used to this. Fair weather. 20 degrees, free hot dogs. Can't keep me away.
Braden was among those here for the first giveaway in September after Caleb Williams tossed 4 touchdowns in a win over Dallas. He says the temperatures aren't the only thing different this time around.
At the time, I think a lot of people were thinking, same old Bears. Right? Same old Bears. Well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to end in a bad place. The vibe's completely changed.
As has the message for Ben Johnson, referred to by Mitch as a man of the people.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. You're serving the community. You're making us all super happy. Just keep winning. Just keep winning. Bear down.
In Lincoln Park, Andy Day, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Well, Chris Kindle's stakeholders are weighing in on the possibility of relocating away from Daley Plaza. The latest on that story coming from WBBM's Brandon Ison.
I don't know where else it would be. I really like it at the location it's at right now.
A recent back and forth with the city about capacity inside the Chris Kindle Market in Daley Plaza has brought about the unthinkable notion for some holiday shoppers. What if the beloved and most authentic traditional holiday market outside of Europe were to move? It might be a surprising take for some, but Mark Tompkins, President CEO of the German-American Chamber of Commerce of the Midwest, tells us that it might be a good sign that maybe Chris Kindle Market has just outgrown Daley Plaza.
Daley Plaza's been our home for almost 30 years, and people love it here, and there's a lot of good reasons to be here from that history. But we'd be silly not to look at all the options that are out there and find what's the right home for the next 30 years. But it's really hard to replicate what we have here.
Ideas of where to relocate the Chris Kindle Market include Grant Park, Washington Avenue, or the LaSalle Corridor. Stakeholders do, however, caution negative impacts that might be created if it were to leave the Loop. There's even talk about expanding with vendors at both Daley and Federal Plazas. In the Loop, Brandon Ison, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.